Judy Hopps comes from a country town, 211 miles from the great city of Zootopia. Many years ago, animals evolved so predators and prey could come together to live in harmony. Judy's dream is to make the world even better, as a police officer. Her parents are quite worried, and tell her that there's never been a bunny cop before. She's simply determined to be the first one. She encounters her first bully, a fox named Gideon Gray, who tells her all she'll ever be is just a stupid, dumb, bunny. Judy attends the police academy, and it's the biggest challenge she's ever faced. She has to train day and night to learn how to overcome her small stature. With sheer determination to prove her parents and Gideon wrong, she graduates at the top of her class and is assigned Precinct 1, city center of Zootopia. She's only hopeful and excited, as the train rushes towards her new life. She rents a small apartment and meets her gazelle neighbors, who are admittedly loud, and unwilling to quiet down. It may be simple and small, but it's all she needs to be happy. The next morning, she meets Benjamin, a chunky cheetah cop, who's very nice to her, and proud to be the first face animals see when they visit the ZPD. In the briefing, she's frustratingly assigned parking duty, but is challenged by the chief to get at least 100 tickets. Instead, she gets 201 tickets before noon, and feels pretty great about herself, even though she gave the last ticket to herself. She catches a glimpse of a suspicious-looking fox, and decides to follow him. When she realizes she misjudged him, she starts to leave, but she hears that the elephant behind the counter is being very rude to this fox father. She stands up for him, and points out the unloved trunk violation. She's willing to let them off with a warning, if they glove up and sell the fox a pop for his son. Then, unbeknownst to Judy, this fox decides to take advantage of her kindness. He claims to have forgotten his wallet, and apologizes to his son for ruining his birthday. She doesn't hesitate to buy the popsicle for them. Nick Wilde introduces himself, and Judy encourages his son to follow his dreams. She feels pretty good and continues on with her day until she accidentally spots them again. She starts watching them, and discovers they're popsicle hustlers. Nick dismisses her easily, because he's got the right permits and never did anything illegal, even though he tricked her. He accurately guesses how her life started, the blind faith she has in Zootopia, and that her dreams will quickly be gone when she never gets to be the real cop she thought she could be. She pretends everything is okay, for her parents' sake, but they celebrate when they see her vest. Her mom says she has the safest job on the force, and her dad claims she's not a real cop. She hangs up, discouraged. Through the wall, her neighbors say tomorrow might be worse. She receives a ton of hate from all the people she gives tickets to, so when a shop is robbed, she is thrilled to give chase and leave the meter-maid vest behind. She manages to save a small Arctic shrew, out shopping with her friends, and compliments her tiny hairdo before she captures the bad guy. Her boss isn't happy, reminding her she's a meter maid that caused a lot of trouble for a bag of vegetables. She corrects the chief, telling him they're night howlers, but gets to the point and tells him she wants to be a real cop. He tells her it doesn't matter what she wants, he doesn't even want her on his force. Suddenly, Mrs. Otterton barges in and begs the chief for a moment of his time. Benjamin admits he couldn't stop her, she was too slippery. Her husband's been missing for 2 days, and she's desperate for answers. The chief is very dismissive, and doesn't have any updates for the Otter. Judy chimes in and offers to find him for her. She is relieved, while Judy's boss is furious. He fires her, and tells her to admit she's a former meter maid with delusions of grandeur. Instead, the assistant mayor Bellwether has heard that Officer Hopps is taking the case. She quickly texts the mayor, proud that the Smaller Mammals initiative is really paying off. She congratulates Judy. Feeling he has no choice, the chief only gives her 2 days to find Emmett Otterton, but expects her resignation if she fails. Judy accepts, feeling far too hopeful of backing out now. The case file is the smallest Benjamin has ever seen. She looks closely at the only photo provided, and spots Nick Wilde. She gets him talking about his successful hustle, and then puts a boot on his stroller, telling him he's under arrest for felony tax evasion. She was recording everything he said on her recorder pen, and according to his tax forms, he didn't report any income. He's forced to help her, by showing her the last known location of Emmett Otterton, which is a nudist hangout for animals that don't like clothes. Emmett's friend remembers the last outfit he was wearing, and the car he got into. He remembered the license plate number, but Judy remembers she can't run a plate because she's not in the system yet. She refuses to give Nick the pen, until he tells her about his friend at the DMV. His name is Flash, but he is not fast. Just as Flash is about to type the last number of the license plate, Nick tells him a joke. What do you call a 3-humped camel? Pregnant. The sloth takes several moments to laugh, and then takes the time to tell Priscilla the joke. By the time they find out the license plate is registered to Tundratown Limo Service, it's nighttime, and the place is closed. Judy doesn't have a warrant, so she throws Nick's incriminating carrot pen over the fence. He jumps in after it, which gives her a reason to follow. They find the limo Emmett was in, and it's obviously a crime scene. Suddenly, Nick realizes whose limo this is. It belongs to Mr. Big, who doesn't like Nick at all, since he sold him what he claimed to be a very valuable rug, that just turned out to be made of a skunk's butt. When he opens the door to leave, they are grabbed by Kevin and Raymond, Mr. Big's henchmen. Mr. Big is very upset with Nick, who does his best to suck up to him. Judy proudly announces she's a cop, who's on the Emmett Otterton case, and she'll find out what he did to Emmett, if it's the last thing she does. Mr. Big orders them iced, but just before it's done, Mr. Big's daughter, Fro, enters, and recognizes Judy as the one that saved her that day. Mr. Big says she's done him a great service by saving his daughter, so he'll help her in return. Nick is blown away. Mr. Big tells Judy Emmett was the one that attacked the jaguar he sent to pick him up. Nick and Judy pay him a visit, and find that he's clearly disturbed, and blames Emmett for becoming a savage animal. He agrees to let them in, but then he too turns into a savage animal. There's no reasoning with him, so Judy desperately calls for backup. Benjamin takes his time answering her call, but assures her backup is on the way. Judy and Nick manage to escape by falling into the jungle vines. The police arrive, but the jaguar is gone and the chief doesn't believe Judy's story. This isn't the Stone Age, animals live in harmony now, and evolution doesn't just revert back suddenly. It doesn't matter that Nick is a key witness, because he's a fox. The chief demands her badge, but Nick realizes how unfairly they are being treated, and that Judy doesn't deserve this. She's a good cop. Nick steps in and points out that they haven't even gotten a lead on this case in 2 weeks, but he only gave Judy 2 days to solve it. He says it's no wonder she needed his help, because none of them were going to help her. He dismisses the rude chief, and leaves with Judy. He tells her to never let them think they get to her. A story from his childhood allows Judy to understand why Nick is so willing to be shifty and untrusting. It's all anyone ever sees when they look at him. Nick snaps out of the sappy moment while Judy assures him, and realizes the traffic cam would have caught what happened to the jaguar. They pay a visit to Assistant Mayor Bellwether. Nick loves her wool, because a sheep's never let him get so close before. She pulls up the cam before she's called away by the selfish and demanding mayor. They see Timberwolves capture the jaguar and drive him to a tall, ominous building on the edge of a cliff. Once there, the wolf security can't help but start howling once Judy starts it. They sneak past, and enter a forsaken hospital with claw marks everywhere. There's an up-to-date room with savage animals being held in cells. They find the missing jaguar and Emmett, among others. The mayor enters, demanding answers as to why these animals are turning savage. He knows it won't look good for him if they come forward about this without knowing why it's happening. The whole city would turn against itself. Judy records what the mayor says, but her parents try to call her, alerting them to intruders. When security sweeps the area, they escape by flushing themselves down the toilet. She turns in what she's discovered, and the chief is finally impressed. The lion mayor warns them again that they need to figure out why this is happening before addressing the press. Judy has a moment with Nick, telling him he should join the force and become her new partner. Then, she addresses the press about all the animals she found. It sounds bad that only predators are the ones going savage. Judy admits it could be instinctual, and they haven't found out why it's happening yet. The reaction that follows is what the lion mayor was worried about. Nick says Judy doesn't trust or believe in him like he thought she did. The city's prey animals turn against predators, fearing for their lives. Benjamin was told it would be better if his face wasn't the first one animals see when they walk into the ZPD. Bellwether has become the new mayor of Zootopia. She asks Judy to be the poster child of the Zootopia police. She believes she's made the city worse, by addressing the press in that way, before they knew why the issue was happening. She resigns from the force, instead of accepting the promotion. No one blames Judy, but she knows there's more to this puzzle than they want to admit. She returns home, and finds that her parents are business partners with Gideon Gray, the fox that Judy refused to hate just because he bullied her. He's matured, and respects others much more. He apologizes to Judy. Then, her parents mention the night howler patch, recalling how Judy's cousin became savage when he ate one. That's the missing piece she needed to figure out everything. Judy knows she must find Nick, and begs him to forgive her. She knows she was wrong to judge predators and blame their DNA for what was happening. He agrees to help her. In the farm truck, Nick munches on homegrown fruit while Judy tells him they need to speak with Duke Weaselton. He's the one Judy chased on that second day of work. He stole the night howlers to sell them to a contact named Doug. Nick and Judy find the drop spot, and a growing operation inside a train car. While hiding, they overhear Doug recapping how he shot each of the predators with a dart full of night howler juice. Somebody is framing predators for some reason. Judy decides to start the train car and drive the entire lab full of evidence somewhere else. However, they travel too fast, so the train tilts on its side and explodes. None of the evidence survived, except for what Nick managed to hold on to. On the way to turn in evidence, Bellwether finds them. Something about it feels weird to Judy, so she tries to leave for the police station. Instead, they are chased through the history museum. When Judy twists her ankle, Nick takes the opportunity to take the night howlers out of the dart gun and replace it with blueberries from Judy's farm. When Bellwether believes she's shot Nick with the night howler and he's about to rip Judy apart, she admits to everything. She's been behind it all. She knew the flowers would make any animal go savage, and she was tired of doing all the mayoral work without any credit or real power. By framing predators for savage attacks, she could become mayor and earn the trust of Zootopia. Nick stops acting when he thinks they've recorded enough. Judy adds a little drama at the end, just like in her school play all those years ago. Members of the ZPD arrive just as Bellwether realizes she's busted. She's sent to prison, while Zootopia returns to normal and the antidote is administered to the victims. Judy is fully respected as a cop, and Nick has become Officer Wilde, her partner. The chief assigns them parking duty as a joke, before telling them there's a street racer in the area that needs to be stopped. Before they catch sight of him, Judy admits she loves Nick. Then, they find that the speeder is none other than Flash, the sloth, who's confident Nick and Judy will let him off the hook.